Hey guys, what's up? It's the Tominator. So let's talk about the 212 prejudging, which took place this morning. Most of these guys brought it, and the webcast actually looks pretty solid for a change, so we can appreciate the finer details and conditioning on these guys' physiques. The top callout here featured 6 names. From left to right, you have Ahmed Ashkanani, Derek Lunsford, Shaun Clarida, Kamal Elgargni, George Peterson, and Angel Calderon Frias. I'm mainly just going to focus on these 3 in the middle, Shaun Clarida, George Peterson, and defending champ Kamal Elgargni, because unless something dramatic happens in the finals, they're poised to be your top 3 in the 212 division. Alright, but let's cut to the chase and start evaluating some poses. In the front double biceps, I'd probably have to go with Shaun Clarida. He may be the shortest, but he's got the best arms, especially the biceps. And I'd also argue that he's edging out Kamal in the quads right now. Kamal has him beat in the torso, though. He may look a little smoother because he's not crunching down on his abs, but he's got a much larger chest and ribcage and looks more proportionate. The chest is actually Clarida's biggest weakness. It sort of just disappears at times. Even so, I think he's good enough through the limbs and is showing enough abdominal definition to pull it off. George Peterson looks great too, probably the best flow and overall aesthetics in this lineup, but his arms and legs need a bit more mass to hang with the top 2. As for these other guys, man, gotta say I'm disappointed in Lunsford. He looks smooth and flat and just kinda missed the mark again. He's got probably the best structure and genetics of the entire field, yet this is now the second year in a row where he dropped the ball. I think at this point he'll be lucky to take 4th, because even Angel over there on the right arguably looks better than him in this shot. Ashkanani appears pretty blocky and odd in this one, but as we'll see, he's pretty competitive from the side and in the lat spreads, so he could sneak ahead. Yeah, I think part of the problem for Derek is that his coloring is off, or he didn't put on enough posing oil because his physique just isn't popping. It doesn't look polished like Kamal's, for instance, who nailed his tan and oil perfectly. And in this front lat spread, I give it to Elgargni. He's the most muscular and the most balanced from top to bottom. Peterson's lats are enormous, but they're actually too big for the rest of his physique, especially compared to the legs. I would put Ashkanani over there on the left in second, because even though the angle's off, he's easily one of the widest on screen. After that, it's Peterson or Angel Calderon, who looks surprisingly good in this one, and I don't think enough people are talking about him. Clarida, despite all the hype and the incredible shape he's in, is simply too small and narrow here. His muscle bellies and conditioning are insane, but his structure kills him. I still put him ahead of Derek, however, just because there's such a stark contrast in conditioning. Side chest goes to Kamal hands down. Once again, he's the biggest and the most balanced, with plenty of detail and definition. His chest itself is also the best in the picture, so it's an easy decision. After that, I might go with Clarida, although Peterson looks very statuesque, and I'd like a better look at Ahmed Ashkanani in order to make that call. Derek looks good through the lower body, but his upper body is way too soft. Angel has almost the opposite problem, where his upper body looks great, but the lower body looks sort of small and smooth. He's too top-heavy here. Turning around, this is where Shaun Clarida is at his most dangerous. This back double is money. Tons of roundness and thickness and great conditioning. I didn't check out the other callouts yet, but I think it's safe to say that he was the most peeled guy in the whole division. But standing as he is, wedged between 2 bigger bodybuilders who also happen to have outstanding back development, he gets kinda overshadowed. I think if he's on, Derek wins this pose handily. He's got the thickest upper back and looks sharp through the glutes and hams, but again, his lack of polish is his death sentence here. I would actually still give this one to Kamal. He's very complete, the back is super detailed from top to bottom, he has the best lower back for sure, and nothing is really out of proportion. The only thing I'd like to see is a bit more definition through those hams and glutes. Don't get me wrong, he's not off or anything, but his lower half doesn't seem quite as sharp as his upper half here. Clarida's super close, but he's just a little too short height-wise, especially through the torso, and that hurts him in comparisons. George Peterson looks terrific through the lats, traps, and shoulders, but again, his arms and legs need more mass and fullness. So the way I'd order this one would be Kamal in first, Clarida second, Peterson third, Derek fourth, Ahmed fifth, and Angel sixth. In the back lat spread. Man, I'd love to give it to Peterson because those lats are astronomical. But his legs let him down badly. He's totally unbalanced here. From a conditioning standpoint, it's Clarida all day. But can you really give a lat spread to the smallest, narrowest guy on conditioning alone? I don't think so. I'd also like to go with Kamal again, but his execution isn't very good. He's not showcasing much width and doesn't seem to be expanding the lats properly, so I don't think you can reward that either. If Ashkanani was just like 10% sharper, he could take it. Likewise with Peterson if he had better wheels. So I don't know about this one, honestly. They all have glaring flaws, so picking a winner becomes very subjective. Personally, I'm willing to overlook a weak lower body and a rear lat spread when your V-taper is as incredible as George Peterson's. I mean, that was basically Lee Haney in a nutshell. So I'm going to go ahead and give him the nod here. After that, I don't know, maybe Clarida or Ashkanani. Kamal's execution, the more I look at it, is just not cutting it. That's got to be his worst mandatory pose. The good news for him is that that's not the case here in the side triceps, where Kamal bounces back big time. He looks great here. Washboard abs, thick pecs and shoulder, solid tri and side leg. Clarida's good, might even be beating him in the arm and delt departments, but not when it comes to the chest and midsection. Plus, when it's close like this, Elgargni's extra size really pushes him over the top. Peterson's physique looks almost too pretty here. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but this is 212, not classic, and he doesn't have enough thickness from the side, period. I want to go with Ashkanani in third, but his hunched over posture looks really awkward and uncomfortable, but he certainly isn't lacking for thickness. Derek looks nice, but needs deeper separation, and that's really his story summed up right there. He just didn't have enough sharpness, enough cuts, he was too watery. It's a shame. Okay, and I guess the judges felt that way too, because they moved Derek to the outside and bring Ahmed in, which suggests that Ahmed may have overtaken him for fourth. In the ab and thigh, this is a home run for Kamal Elgargni. He looks superb. Blocky but symmetrical abs, thick, separated quads, great overall size and muscularity. It's a no-brainer. Clarida's got that nice feathering, but his midsection, while clearly defined, also looks a little bloated at times. I'd keep him in second, though, with Ashkanani third and then Peterson, whose legs still need a lot of work. I mean, Kamal's midsection looks bloated at times too, especially when they catch their breath in between poses. You can see it looking wide and blocky right here. But during the mandatories, he keeps it reined in, so I don't think the judges will really dock him for that. In the most muscular, it's hard to go wrong with the current champ. Kamal Elgargni is the most muscular man in this lineup after all. It's not his best shot, but this is a solid hands-on hip. Shaun's got crazy roundness, but this hand's clasp exposes how small and narrow he is through the chest. I do like him better in the crab, though. I'd probably give it to him over Kamal, since the only body parts Kamal's really beating him in now would be the chest and traps. And I like that palms together variation by George as well. It's artistic and really suits him, given his background and classic physique. And Angel, with the single hand on hip, looks really solid too. I love his outline. He just needs to be a bit more conscious of keeping the quads fully flexed to maintain that thigh separation. So yeah, guys, that's it for this 212 prejudging callout. A really solid showing by all these contestants. This was a very competitive lineup. I think based on what we've seen here, it's very likely that Kamal Elgargni will remain the champion, and Shaun Clarida will take that runner-up. George Peterson should be third with either Derek Lunsford or Ahmed Ashkanani in fourth. I think those two are still close enough, that 4th place is still up for grabs, depending on how the finals go tonight. And Angel Calderon, I think, will have to settle for 6th, even though arguably he should also be in the running for 4th, but he's not as big a name and didn't have any knockout poses, so I think he'll tend to get passed over. Alright, so that's a wrap. Stay tuned for later tonight, and I'll try to put out a video for the men's open prejudging. Unfortunately, we probably won't get around to the 212 finals until tomorrow at the earliest, but look out for that also. And please leave a like and subscribe for more, but until then, this has been the Tominator signing off, and I'll be back.